Hey folks, it's Nick Granville. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Hey, so today I thought I'd talk about some funk guitar. Hey, so today I thought I'd talk about some more kind of funk guitar stuff. What I think about, what I'm listening for when I'm playing this music. And this was kind of, lesson was inspired by, I was playing along with Rock With You, Michael Jackson tune, great guitar parts. Sounds like a humbucker guitar to me. I don't know, what do you reckon? Do you reckon it's a Strat or a humbucker? Let me know in the comments. But I was playing along to that tune and I was thinking, what do I listen to? Because I get asked that a lot, like, what do you think? What are you listening to? But it has this cool guitar part, right? And I was playing along to it, and I thought, what am I actually listening to here? Because people ask me all the time, and I'm like, man, I don't know. It changes all the time, right? But I think a tune like that, for the most part, what I'm listening to is two factors, right? Because if you try and listen to the whole thing at once, essentially, you're kind of listening to nothing. So you have to prioritize something, right? So for me, it's like I prioritize two things, the drums and the vocals, above all else, right? Drums, because for me, particularly the hi-hat, is often where the time and the groove is. No matter what, you don't want to race the snare. That's awful if you're ahead of it, if you rush it, right? So I'm listening for that, the hi-hats, where they're sitting, how it's feeling, right? And then I'm trying to lock with my part with that. But I'm listening to the vocals equally as much. In fact, probably more sometimes, right? And the reason for that is that the vocals help me mark where the form is of the song, where all the different parts are. And to me, the most important thing in any song is the vocal. Unless it's an instrumental tune, that's different. But it's the vocal is the key thing, right? So for me, I'm listening to the vocal with the intention of trying to support that as best I can. So something like this. So I make a real point of like learning the melody, being aware of the vocals, the phrasing that the vocals does and all that stuff. And I try and go, how do I support this, right? The worst thing you can do when it comes to supporting a vocal is get too busy. Now, a song like Rock With You, there's a set guitar part, but often stuff I play, there is no set guitar part, right? Like people will give me a tune and they'll say, we're going to play this tune, and they've got their own arrangement or whatever, and they've changed it, and I've got to come up with a part. That's part of doing sessions, right? That's what I do, is I'm a session guy. And so for me, it's like I often have to come up with parts, right? And in that case, you want to be really careful about being too busy. Too many notes, and all of a sudden you're distracting rather than helping the whole process, right? But as I mentioned before about listening to hi-hats, I'm just going to pull up a drum beat. Hopefully you'll hear this through my microphone here. Should be able to. So this is Drum Genius. Great app. Really awesome app. I use this all the time. So this is Funky One Sex Machine Groove. It's New Orleans feel. It's basically the Sex Machine James Brown tune. Right, you can hear in those hi-hats, there's a swing about it. It's not straight. So that's the first thing I'm listening for, right? Like is what's happening with that hi-hat? Is it or right? That's quite different when it has that swung about it. So there's the groove, right? So come on, stop. So you can see there, like, I listened for the groove, I tried to find where the pocket was, and then I found a little part, right? Like a little thing. I left a lot of space to start with, and then I sort of built on it, right? And that's usually my approach to coming up with parts, right? Especially in a funk context. Now, everything changes if you play rock. Everything changes if you play blues. They're not the same style of music, but in a funk context, I'm doing that. The other thing I'm listening for too, like if I'm listening to, I said I prioritize vocals and drums, I'm still listening to the keyboard like a hell of a lot. It's really important, right? But vocals and drums are here, and everything else, keyboard is probably tucked in under here with the bass, and then percussion and everything else is I kind of see that as part of the drum kit, right? And background vocals are kind of tucked in under there, right? But you're prioritizing. It doesn't mean you're not listening to the other stuff. You're prioritizing your listening, right? And I find that goes a long way. You're probably wondering how I'm getting this sound, right? Possibly, maybe you are, maybe you aren't. But I'm using both pickups. That's my preferred thing when it comes to funk stuff. And I don't particularly like coil tapped humbuckers. They don't sound right. So if I was to go neck pickup, and then, whoops. They don't really sound like a single coil. So what I do is I actually go into the middle position, both pickups, and then I just coil tap the neck. So you got full humbucker here and then neck tapped, which kind of reduces the volume of the neck pickup. This is Mr. Glynn, by the way, and that's just the standard Ibanez one that came with it. And that seems to work pretty good because now you've not got like the full impact of the tap. As opposed to if I go humbucker. Right, you can see it's kind of getting a little bit thick sounding. And I'm just running through that little deluxe back there, that one, and just a little short reverb. And it's coming from the Flint because the amp has no reverb. And I usually run the little 5E3 Deluxe pretty clean. Like the edge of breakout, but not quite breaking up. So if I hit it hard, it'll just kind of compress a little more. Yeah, so that's what I'm listening to, right? And with that, what I'm trying to do is try and be super consistent. Because the thing with funk music is if you go... It's just a load of bullshit, because all you're doing now is like you're interrupting the groove by there's too much, right? And you know when you've got it right, because if you look out in the audience or the various members of the band, you see people doing this and they don't know they're doing it, but the groove's got them, right? So I find a part and then I just stay there. I'm gonna change tempo. So you see I found a part and then I stayed there, and that gets kind of hypnotic to the audience, right? They start they follow along with it, right? I'm tapping my foot on all 4 beats at that tempo, which is one of the reasons I want to change tempo, right? Because I kind of get to this 4, 1, 2, 3, right? If it gets faster, that kind of tempo, it doesn't always work to have your foot going on all 4 beats. You might want to put your foot on just 1 and 3. Now, why not 2 and 4, right? Especially if it's kind of something that's kind of jazzy funk, right? People might think you put it on 2 and 4. Even in a jazz tune, I tap my foot on 2 and 4. Sorry, on 1 and 3. I remember talking to Larry Coons about it, really great guitar player. And Larry, one of my mentors, learned so much from that guy. Larry was saying that, the reason to tap your foot on 1 and 3 and not 2 and 4 is that 1 and 3 are the beats that anchor the rhythm, right? 1 is the downbeat, right? Like it's the downbeat of the song. So that's what anchors it, and that's what you want your foot to do. You don't want your foot to swing. You want your foot to anchor, right? So for me, it's like 1 and 3. I make a point of being able to tap my foot on 2 and 4 so I can feel it. But mostly when I do it, I tap my foot on 1 and 3 if it gets to the point where 1, 2, 3, 4 is feeling too fast. So that's another thing I'm thinking about. And in my brain, I'm subdividing, right? So instead of just 1, 2, 3, 4, I might be thinking 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Right, so it depends on what the groove is. I'm thinking about all the subdivisions that kind of line it up. And I find all those different steps really help with making your playing funky, right? Because the thing with it is that people respond to what you're thinking more than what you're playing, right? I remember playing, it's going to sound like name dropping, but there's no other way around this, with John Schofield when he was here through New Zealand. I did a tour with him, and we played in the hotel room a bunch, right? And I remember playing with him, and he often would avoid beat one, not play beat one at all. And I kind of thought, man, that's like super funky, and you knew where beat one was, whether he played it or not. Hey, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps with the channel. Hey, thanks very much. Stay cool.